Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Friday. It's Daryl here. It's bright and freaking early, man. It's 3 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, let me give you the rundown of what's going on here this morning. Like I said, it's actually Friday, April 19th, 2025. And I usually, the last couple of days, last week or so, I've had videos all set to go in the mornings. It saves me a little time. I'll make a video the day before and I'll download it before 3 a.m. But this morning I have a few stories that I want to talk about. I haven't done TMZ stories in a while. I haven't found anything that I could really relate to, that I really felt strongly about, that I wanted to talk about, like on TMZ. Now, the stuff I'm going to talk about, the links will be right down. I try to be careful with the links, seeing as I don't put video clips in my videos because of copyright problems here on YouTube. Copyright strikes are a very real thing, a very scary thing for me. If you get 3, you lose your channel. And I put links down below, so I try to put really good links for you guys, seeing as I don't put clips into the videos. So the links will be right down below. And there's 2 stories that I want to talk about. I have a video all set to go. Now, I don't know if I'll save it for this afternoon or tomorrow morning. It's the first time that I ever ducked out of a fist fight. I didn't run away, but I snuck away. And I wasn't very proud of it when it happened, but I feel differently about it now. That's the video that I had all prepared for you guys this morning. Now, here's the 2 stories that I want to talk about, and I want to really give you my gut. I feel strongly about these 2 stories, and I want to talk with them to you guys, and I want you guys to comment back, especially on the Blue Origin story. Let me start first with Joel Osment. If you don't remember him, he's 37 now, but he was the kid from the movie. Well, he was in a lot of movies, over a couple dozen, but he was the kid that was in The Sixth Sense with Bruce Willis, the little blonde kid. I think he was blonde, brown hair, whatever it was. You know, I see dead people. You know, the kid laying in the bed that saw the dead people. That's Joel Osment. He's now 37 years old, and he's going through some really hard times that I can relate to. Let me run this down for you. There'll be a video and there'll be the stories right down below. There's about 3 stories from TMZ down below and a video. It started out, well, actually it started out a couple months ago, or about a half a year ago, when the fires in California, the Eaton fire, I believe it was, destroyed his home and all his belongings. And that's kind of this downward skid that he's in started. Now, he was just recently photographed or video in California ski resort, and he's highly, highly intoxicated. He's very overweight. You can still recognize his face. You know, you can still recognize him, and he's very overweight. He's actually got his ski helmet on backwards, all right? Extremely drunk, and he's being videotaped, and he's trying to get on the chairlift. Now, I've skied before, and he's trying to get on the chairlift without his snowboard. You know, so that he's going up the mountain, but he has no way to get back down the mountain. If you ever skied or snowboard, you know, you need to go up the hill with your snowboard or your skis, because there's no, you know, unless you're gonna, they usually don't let you ride they usually don't let you ride it back down, ride the tram back down. You know, you have to ski or snowboard. So you know, it just he's standing there, and he keeps arguing that he wants to get on the chairlift, but they're trying to reason with him that he doesn't have any snowboard or skis, and they can't let him go up without snowboard or skis, because, you know, if you can picture this drunk guy trying to walk down the slopes as people trying to ski around him. It's going to create a big hazard. So I could understand why they're not letting him up there. His helmet's on backwards. So he ends up getting arrested, because the people at the ski resort are saying that they don't think that he can take care of himself. He's so intoxicated. So the police are going through his belongings, and he's got a folded up $20 bill. Now, I'm very familiar with this. You know, usually when we used to have cocaine, we put it folded up in a bill of some sort. Well, mine, I didn't fold them in 20s. I'll just leave that there. But I've been clean and sober for over 18 years now. And so they find cocaine on him. I guess it's just a misdemeanor in California. Here it's a 7-year felony. You could look at 7 years for that, for possession. I actually got caught for it before, but I got off the charge. But okay, so they go to take him in, and I wasn't sure what religion Haley Joel is, and he's Roman Catholic. Because I was wondering this, because he started bad mouthing the cops, and he called them a Jewish slur that begins with K, ends with E. I think you know what it is. But at the same time, he also called them Nazis, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, you know. So I looked at this and I started thinking about this because like I said, I haven't drank or used. I haven't been intoxicated, since October 23rd of 2006, over 18 and a half years. And I started thinking this morning, you know, if I was really drunk, like right now, would I badmouth somebody? I mean, is there somebody in my heart? Because I think when people do this, when people are drunk and they badmouth somebody, I think there's some truth coming out. I think they have anger or animosity, and it comes out. You know, and it might not be just, it might be racist or whatever, but they have some anger in their heart. And I think when they get intoxicated, it comes out. So I started thinking about this. You know, let's just say that I actually did get drunk or intoxicated. You know, would there be anything that slipped out? Is there any hatred or animosity in my heart? And it clicked. All of a sudden it hit me. It's like if I ever got, you know, God forbid, if I ever got intoxicated, I really think I would start picturing people as Trump supporters, because I have a lot of animosity. I don't understand Trump supporters. Let's just say that. You know, and I could see that happening if I did get drunk or intoxicated, you know, and I got arrested. I could see myself doing that, having that animosity in my heart, you know. Not that it's okay, you know, but I was trying to put myself in Haley Joel's shoes, you know, through empathy. If you watch my channel, I talk about empathy a real lot, you know, and in this case, I was trying to understand why he would call them that racial slur, or why he would call them a Nazi. You know, does he have hatred in his heart? You know, is it some animosity that he has deep inside that just comes out? You know, and I started to think, and I could see, and when I think of it in that way, it makes sense. I can understand how it comes out like that. Not that it's okay. I'm not making excuses for it. I'm not saying it's okay by any means. I'm just trying to understand why people do that, or how it comes about. Okay. Now here's about being overweight. I weighed almost 280 pounds. I was headed towards 300 pounds. I'm 192 this morning. I'm actually a little overweight right now. I'm usually about 189. So I lost 93 pounds when I first got clean and sober, and I didn't look anything like I do now. You know, so I could relate to Haley Joel. And here's the thing that I could relate to most. I remember, you know, using drugs and drinking. And I remember bad things happening in my life because of that. I lost my job. I lost my apartment. I lost my family. And when you're using, you actually believe that the drinking and the drugs are helping you. That life is treating you badly. That bad things are happening just out of, you know, chance. You know, oh my God, you know, so I have so many bad things. If it wasn't for bad luck, I wouldn't have any luck at all. You know, thank God I got, you know, if it wasn't for the alcohol and the drugs, you know, I deserved that because these bad things keep happening to me. You know, that's how I used to really think. When in reality, you know, now that I'm clean and sober, I realize that those things happened because of the drinking and the drugs. But when it's happening, you actually believe that the drinking and the drugs is helping you. You really believe that, you know, it's so amazing how you actually, this disease of addiction actually brainwashes you into believing that, you know, you need this, you deserve this, the drugs and the alcohol, because these bad things, you know, nobody understands you, nobody understands how bad your life is, you know, and if it wasn't for the drugs and alcohol, you'd go insane, you'd end your life or something like that, and you don't realize that you're doing it to yourself. And, you know, so it's a vicious circle. It's a downward spiral, because the more bad things happen because you're drinking and using, you know, so more bad things happen, so you drink and use more, and more bad things happen, and you drink and use more, you know, and you just go down the freaking toilet. You know, it's not funny at all. And, you know, when it's happening, it makes total sense to you. You know, so people don't understand, why I have to do this. I can't survive without, I need this. My life is so sucky. Everybody else doesn't understand how all these bad things keep happening to me. And you believe it, and I could understand, because losing his home now and all this, I'm a praying for him. I really am. There really is a moment of clarity. I remember having this moment, they call it a moment of clarity, when all of a sudden I was sober after starting at the methadone clinic for about 2 weeks. And this one point, all of a sudden I'd been clean for about 2 weeks. And I just felt happy from inside. Like I finally knew what it was like to just wake up and look forward to a day without drugs. The first time in my life ever. And I got this feeling, I'm getting goosebumps. I was like, I could do this. I could actually do this. I could live clean. And it's the first time in my life that I ever felt that. I still remember, that's the moment of clarity. I had that. Okay, enough about Haley Joel Osment. Let me know what you think about him. Do you feel sorry for him? Do you wish him well? Do you think he's an idiot? All of the above, let me know. Okay, let's talk about Blue Origin. And those 6 or 7, is it 6 or 7? I know Gayle King, Katy Perry, the rich women that went into space on Blue Origin. Okay, the first time I saw this, I hate to admit this, but I was one of those people. I don't know if I'm getting old and brainwashed or what, but I'm one of those people I don't understand why people are mad at this, because it's a good thing. Women went up in space, But then the more I started looking into it, the more I saw it for what it was. It was the billionaire set, trying to pretend like they're promoting feminism. When really, women are equal to us. Look, these women are going into space. When really they're just perpetuating the stereotype, not just the stereotype, but the sexism. They're saying they're pretending that they're all for women, when really it's just a show. Now here's the big thing. People don't believe it happened. There's actually some videos. I'll have this video right down below. And they got a picture of a dummy hand in the window. Like there was dummies inside the cabin, inside that Blue Origin cabin. Okay, I'll talk about that more in a second. And there's a video where the cabin just landed in the desert. And the cameras are on it, and they're waiting for the people to come out. And the door opens from the inside a little bit. And somebody runs over and shuts the door and whispers inside, it's not time to come out yet. And they shut the door. Okay, and then they have the grand opening where somebody comes over and makes a big show out of unlocking the door and the people coming out. Now I could understand why people might think this is fake. This is what I think. I don't think it's fake. I really don't, and I put a lot of thought into this morning. I think these women had enough money to do this, to I could see why they did this, to try to, like this fake feminism thing. The dummy hand, okay, it makes sense to me that they would send dummies up before they sent the women up, before they sent anybody up. I'm sure they put crash test dummies in the vehicle and sent it up, and it came back down. And I know how people that want to push their own agendas, their own rhetoric, could get a hold of these pictures and mix them in with the women that and say, oh look, there was really dummies in those cabins, in that Blue Origin capsule. So I don't buy the dummy hand. The person coming up to the door and telling them, shh, get back in. Like I said, the video's right down below. It's from TikTok. You guys could see it. I think that's just showbiz. I really do. I don't know. I hope I'm not making excuses. I hope this wasn't fake. I don't believe it was fake. I don't believe space is fake. I'd like to believe we really did go to the moon. In my heart, I believe that we went to the moon. I have a lot of questions as to why we've never really gone back. I have a lot of questions as how we, in that era, over 50 years ago, how we could survive the radiation in this thin little cabin. When the computers back then were as big as this room, the computers that fit into my phone now were as big as this room back then. It kind of makes me wonder how we had the technology to do it back then, and how come we've never done it since. But that being said, I really, in my heart, I guess I want to believe that we really did do it. You know, my biggest reason for believing it is the men that landed there, Buzz Aldrin and all the other astronauts. I mean, they sound, you know, I was a liar back when I was using it. I could usually spot liars. And Buzz Aldrin and the rest of the guys don't strike me as liars. You know, I think they would have come out at some point, and I really don't think it was fake. And then there's the whole science of it. You know, there's people that believe the earth is flat. And I'm not going to get too far into this today. I'll do a whole another video about the flat earth. Because when I first got on YouTube, that was my big thing. Like, I was one of the people that were, going off on the flat earthers. You know, when I first discovered YouTube like 10 years ago, the flat earth was my big thing. And that doesn't make any sense to me. It's so egocentric that we're God's little creatures underneath this dome on this little flat piece of pizza, you know, floating in nothingness. You know, it doesn't make any freaking sense that the moon's not real. You know, I mean, I could understand the basic science, the physics behind the idea that a globe is nature or physics most energy conserving form. You know, that things naturally form in the shape of a globe to conserve energy. I don't know if you guys know what I'm saying. You know, ever since I was a kid, ever since I could remember, this always bothered me. If you go straight up and you go forever, if you go forever straight up, where would you end up? And teachers would always say, you go for infinity. You know, it's infinity, it never ends. And I could never wrap my mind around that. I was like, what do you mean it never ends? What's beyond that? Is there a wall? What's on the other side of the wall? Is it a circle? What's on the inside of the circle? What's on the outside of the circle? How could it possibly end? How could it never possibly end? What is infinity? You know, that just drives me insane ever since I was younger. You know, it's ever since I could remember. That's been the biggest question I ever wanted answered. You know, what is out there? You know, but I do believe space is real. I do believe we landed on the moon. Okay, so go ahead, hit me with the Gen X. You know, I'm an old Gen Xer, and you know, I'm falling for the rhetoric. I don't know. Let me know what you think. All right, I talked enough. I'm hitting 17 minutes. All right, you guys, I'll play the video I had all set. I'll download it. First time ever ducked out a fight. That's coming up next. Have a good Friday.